a very old childhood copy of one of my favorite books, the Delaire's Book of Greek Myths by Ingrid and Edgar Delaire's. It's from Dell Publishing and Yearling Books. Sisyphus of Corinth was the cleverest king who ever lived. He was so cunning that he fooled even the gods. One day Sisyphus saw the river god Sisyphus, who was looking for his daughter Aegina. Sisyphus, who noticed everything that was happening in his kingdom, went after him and said, "I'll tell you what has become of your daughter, if you'll give my city a spring." For the only thing his great city lacked was a good supply of fresh water. Sisyphus hated to part with any of his water. He twisted and squirmed, but at last he struck the ground, and a crystal-clear spring bubbled forth. "It is Zeus who has carried off your daughter," said Sisyphus. "I saw him hurry by with her," and he pointed out to Sisyphus the way Zeus had taken. The river god rushed off in a fury and soon caught up with the elopers. Zeus, taken by surprise, had no thunderbolt at hand, so to save himself and the nymph from the river god's rage, he changed himself into a rock and her into the island Aegina. Sisyphus had a spring of water, but Sisyphus lost his daughter, and Zeus was furious with Sisyphus for meddling in his affairs. He asked Hades to take him to the underworld and punish him severely. Hades was glad to do his brother a favor, and he went himself to fetch Sisyphus. When the sly king saw the Lord of the Dead in person, he pretended to be very honored. "But why?" he asked. "Had not Hermes, whose office it was to guide dead souls to the underworld, come for him?" While Hades searched for a suitable answer, Sisyphus deftly wound a chain around him, and there stood the Lord of the Dead, chained to a post like a dog. As long as Sisyphus kept Hades tied up, nobody could die. The fates got the threads of life tangled, and the whole world was in confusion. Finally, the gods threatened to make life so miserable for Sisyphus that he would wish he were dead, and Sisyphus then had to let Hades go. Again, people could die and life could go on normally. This time Hermes came for him. The wily king, who had expected this, had told his loving wife not to give him a funeral feast and not to put a coin under his tongue, so he arrived in the realm of the dead as a poor beggar. Hades was shocked. After all, Sisyphus was a king and entitled to a funeral feast and a golden coin under his tongue to pay for his passage across the Styx. His wife had to be punished, or she might set a bad example for others. He sent Sisyphus back to earth and told him to teach his wife respect. "Fooled him again," said Sisyphus when he rejoined his devoted wife. They lived happily for many years, till at last he died of old age and went to Hades for good. There he was given a task that kept him too busy to think up new tricks. He had to push a boulder up a steep hill, but every time he had almost reached the top, the boulder slipped from his hands and rolled all the way to the bottom again.